This is AKUDO, let the truth be told. I got vibes of grace, lighting up the dark.
Your sales is more important than your branding.
Your sales is more important than your branding. Interesting.
I know too many entrepreneurs that focus on sales first and their brand.
So I think you should have that SWOT analysis thing customized to a page on your website where you can use it to reel in email addresses or contacts of people that are interested.
And when I say innovative, it's not to the point of you have to make something brand new, never seen.
Reinventing the wheel.
A lot of people get that is to reinvent the wheel. But I always say innovate the wheel. How do you make it better? And I would say even before marketing, you need sales, because sales often want to mean people. Marketing is sexier than sales. And I say that as somebody who's done both a really long time.
All right, guys, we have a good one for you today. My name is Great AKUDO. This is the AKUDO Experience. Welcome to the AKUDO Experience. And I have a great guest for you today, a business consultant and a mother of a wonderful child. She's a child of God as well, doing great things for the Lord and also in the business sphere. So today I brought her on to talk about tailoring, things about consulting and how she can help your business create real impact. So without any further ado, I'd like you to welcome to the pod, Miss Bond, Chloelle Bond. Hey, Chloe, how you doing today? I had to do that.
It never gets old. I have people ask me, I'm like, is your husband's name James? And I'm like, even when I was married, no, his name was not James. But I love it every time people introduce me that way.
Oh, man, come on. You know, kids nowadays, I don't think they know much about 007. So we gotta introduce it to them a little bit, you know. That is a classic that, yeah, my generation, your generation, we know it. You know what I mean? So anybody that says it, we know what's up. If you know, you know. But yeah, how you doing today, though? How's your Saturday?
Great. Been up early. We closed out my son's soccer season today. We had to drive an hour away for his game. We won. We crushed it. So
congrats, buddy.
It's a good day.
Heck yeah, winning. We're living in a generation where I have a friend who has a child that's, I think, 8 years old, and he was telling me the other day that they graduated and everybody got an award. And he was like, how do you differentiate the ones that merited the award and the ones that didn't? Like, he said, like, that's the generation we're living, bro. You can't really tell the winners, real winners, you know, versus the ones that just participate. So congrats to your son for winning. That one is like clear. When they win, we know they won, you know?
Yep.
But yeah. So let's get into it. I have a few questions for you today so you can elaborate, take your time, and answer them, okay? Let's start with this one. So can you discuss your personal journey on how Jesus has influenced your life? You could take it from there. And then I want you to also, if you can actually rephrase a little bit and tell us a little bit about Chloelle, how that name came to be, because it sounds like a very unique name. So tell us a little bit about it. Tell us who you are, and then you can now transition to telling us about how Jesus has influenced your life. Take it.
Sure. So for my name, because I get that question a lot. Yes. Just on the day-to-day. Okay, so the interesting thing is I have an identical twin sister.
Whoa.
And my mom is also a twin. She's not identical, but she's also a twin. And my mom has said that she prayed for twins, but one thing she always hated was when she would see twins, you know, like matching names. So my mom and her twins' names, they rhyme, or you might have like Brittany and Brittany, but they're spelled differently. So my mom said, okay, if I ever have twins, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So when she named us, I was actually Chloe. That was my birth name, was Chloe. And my sister, her name was Joyelle. But my dad, being my dad, a year after the fact, after a whole year of me being Chloe, everyone calling me that, everyone being acclimated to that, he goes down and changes my name to Chloelle, because he said that his name is Darnell, and he said, okay, these are my firstborn children. She does not match my name.
Right.
So for like the sake of male ego, he just had to have his firstborn go with his name. And I never knew that until I was a mom myself. We were just hanging out with my dad. And I was like, Daddy, I just always wanted to know, because you don't even call me Chloe. Like, where did you get Chloelle from? He's like, and when he told me that, I was like, Dad, he's like, you're not a man. You don't understand. Like, when you have your first kid as a man, like, it's a legacy thing. I was like, okay, Daddy. So that's how Chloelle came to be.
Interesting. Yeah, because you're not a boy. So otherwise he would have named you Darnell, right? But now
Probably.
yeah, that's basically
He
it.
gets that little L action at the end to just go together.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Makes sense to me. Fair enough.
I
So
like
tell
it.
us.
It grew on me.
It's a very unique name. The first time we talked on LinkedIn, right? It was a very unique name to me. And then when you added Bond to it, yeah, we had to talk. You know what I mean? No, two very unique names. I don't know much. I don't know anybody that goes by those two names, like independent of each other. How much more together? So yeah, it's very unique. So you're special in that term. You're very unique. You should be glad. You should be very proud of it. So tell us about yourself, though. Who are you? What do you
Who
like?
am I?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I am a lot of things to a lot of different people. I would say first thing, the top tier thing for me is being a boy mom. And being a boy mom is nothing like being a girl mom. And now that my son is getting older, he's turned 9. I get the wrestling. I'm working on the computer and he's pinching me. And he's like, let me show you this move. We had his last practice for soccer and we did a parent versus kid game. And he's like talking trash the whole time I'm on the field. He's like, Mom, you getting cooked. So like we're in. Sometimes I'm mom, sometimes he's talking to me and I'm bruh. Like it just
gets real.
I tell people it's never a dull moment.
It's never.
But I wouldn't trade it, and he's a good kid. So I wouldn't trade in for anything. Beyond that, I'm a minister. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I'm a daughter. I'm a granddaughter. I'm a niece, sister, best friend. Sometimes people therapists, and I'm not certified, but people like to call in. I'm the strong, wise friend, and have a lot of people will say I have a tough love approach, and I carry that with anything, whether it's business, ministry, whether it's just people in my life. I feel like the world has a lot of delusion in it, and people are always trying to be politically correct and scared to be truthful because you don't want the backlash. I don't have that problem. So,
I love that already.
I feel like if you care for people and you really love people and you really want to see people when, you're not going to lie. And sometimes there's a way that you can be tough without being hurtful. And I think sometimes people don't know how to bring the balance. So I just try my best to be truthful in love, but I'm going to be honest. You have to be honest. Because I want somebody to be, I've had people honest with me, like, you're mad for no reason, Chloe. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, it's me. And they're like, yeah, actually, baby, it is you. Like we need that. So that's just kind of like one of my values that I carry it. If you talk to a client, they're going to say, you know what? She didn't play any games with me, but I got my money though. I saw the results though, because, we just live in that world where people want what they call it, like soft hands, and everyone wants to be like this. And sometimes this is what's keeping us back. Sometimes we need people to give us that push and just shed that light on where we're missing it. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
I'm going to say most times, not even sometimes, we need that. We need that most of the time, because we're living in a very laid back generation now. So we have everything at a fingertip. So because of that, people tend to be laid back. So if that's the case, then we need someone to actually, most of the time, get us going. Otherwise, we'll just be there and not achieve anything. You know what I mean? So I agree with that. So what are the things you like, though? What do you like doing for fun? Even before we get to business, what are things that makes Chloelle tick? You know what I mean? In a good way.
In a good way. Well, I always tell people I'm a professional napper. And that sounds so, but I'm telling you, it's a pride of mine, because when you are an overachiever and you push yourself, you will be up. And I'm sure you can understand, you will stay up all night long trying to get deadlines done. And then you learn not to rest. So when I end up burning out, I found it's time to lay down sometimes. So like today, probably after this,
you're going to lay down?
Take a nap tomorrow. And sometimes I've been taking a nap like during the week, like right after I'm done with I take a little nap, 30 minutes, an hour, get back up. But beyond that, I am a foodie.
Okay.
People think my slim physique means I eat salads.
I was going to say, you're a foodie. You don't look like a foodie.
Looks are deceiving. I told you there's a 600-pound person inside of me. Like, seriously. Like, I like to, and it's just not going out to cook, go out to eat. I cook. Like me and my best friend, we just started, we used to meal plan separately, and now we do it together. And when I tell you, we've been busting out some hits this year. Some hits.
Give us some clues. What are those hits?
We've done Marry Me Chicken.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we just did this pasta. It was so interesting. So it's like you take 2 cloves of garlic, peel them, roast them slowly in olive oil over the stove, then
Okay.
blend, take that out. So now you have olive oil, garlic infused olive oil just used for whatever. I'm going to make a salad dressing out of it.
Interesting.
But then you take that garlic, it was like butter
Right.
and fresh basil and a little bit of tomato paste. And then you make this bomb pasta. So you just dump all that. It has
Wow.
Parmesan cheese.
Right,
Make you
right,
some
right.
pasta, mix that up with some broccolini.
Oh,
I roasted some broccolini. That's what I'm saying. And
interesting.
that was farmer's market season. So I like
Right.
to go to the farmer's market. I saw some lion's mane from one of the farmers I'm going to try out because that's been really popular these
Right.
last couple months. So yeah, I'm not making just like, no, not knocking anybody, but I'm not doing the whole chicken Alfredo out the jar thing.
Right. It's worn out already. And can you monetize that? Have you ever
You
thought
know,
about monetizing
here's
that?
the thing. When my first business, I was a baking business. I was 17
Oh,
because I did culinary
okay.
arts for 2 years at technical school in high
Okay.
school.
Makes
So
sense.
in my mind, I was going to be like an executive chef with a
Chef, yeah.
or a pastry chef. And then things just took a turn in college. But that's where a lot of my love for food just growing up. My grandma, she's in her 90s. She started me cooking at 7 years old, and she's
Oh,
a Southern
wow.
woman. So just learning how to cook soul food first. And then my
Right.
mom, she's been in the food industry like literally as long as I've been alive.
makes
So I've just always
sense.
been around good food,
Yes,
going
yes.
to food shows really young, trying different things. And then I live in Michigan. That's where I was born and raised.
Mhm.
And we're a melting pot. People think all they hear is think to themselves is like Detroit.
Right.
And Detroit is like up here, there's like Middle Eastern food, Asian food, Indian food. Like we have so many different cultures up here. So I used to have like a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
So that's why I cook a little bit of everything now.
I
So
see. What's the
that's how I love
population?
to eat.
What's the population in you're living in Detroit?
No, I've
Okay.
never. That's what I'm saying. Most
Okay,
people
okay.
think just Detroit, but
Oh, I
I'm
see what
not
you mean.
from this city.
I see what
But
you
I
mean.
go downtown like right now. Like I love going to Tigers games. It's the season
Got you.
for
Oh,
it.
okay.
I plan on hitting a Red Wings game, like the hockey game. I want
Yeah.
to be right by the glass.
Wait a minute. You guys have hot because Michigan is cold, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You guys definitely have a hockey then.
Yeah, Red
Interesting.
Wings they're a really good team. They
Right.
play in the same arena our basketball team does. So the ice is right underneath the floor.
Wow. Can you play hockey? But you know the rules.
No. I'm just
No.
going for the vibes.
You
I'm not
don't
going to
know
hold
the
you.
rules either.
I'm not going to
You're
lie
like
to you. I
me.
just want to go for the vibes. I want to see people
Oh,
attack
shoot.
each other on the ice. That's what I want to go see. I want to see
I
what
was
the hype
literally
is
going to
about.
ask you
So
because hockey's the okay. We have hockey and we have ice hockey, right? Those are two different ones.
ice hockey.
Okay, so you're talking about ice hockey. I was
Mhm.
literally going to ask you. So ice hockey is the one that they allow them to fight.
Yes.
Well, we love it. We love it already. Because I see glimpses of it, Canada when they play. Yeah, ice hockey. Man, I would like to try that, but I can't
I'm
really
not
ice
big enough
skate.
for that. I don't think I could put with the uniform or the gear. I wouldn't get on the ice with the amount of gear they have to wear. I would never make it out the room.
But
That's why I'm just gonna go watch it.
can you ice skate though?
No.
Okay.
I don't like skating. I used to be
Okay.
really good at roller skating,
Right.
and then it's not for me. At least it was not like riding a bike. I tried a couple years ago, and I was like, no.
It's not
The
it's
way
not
my
that
knees and back
easy.
are set up.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Yeah, forget all these things they say you can do whatever if you put your mind to it. Like, let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest with that statement. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Not everyone's gonna be freaking president. Don't even play.
Facts.
Yeah. So, but good to know. All right, guys. At least she's human now, right? She now humanized herself. Told you a little bit of how much of a foodie she is. And by the way, I think you should, since your mom is in the food industry, right? And you love to cook. It seems like it. You love to make things different. I think you should find a way to monetize it. You never know. In America, we love to eat. You know what I mean? If it's good.
Yes, we do.
The problem I have with me, like I like business. I love business. I don't like business. I love business, but the industry that I don't want to ever do is the food industry. Not because I don't see a potential of it growing. It's just because the entitlement and it's hard to satisfy people with food more than it is to, I guess, satisfy them with some of the things. Because someone could eat your food, right? And they love it. And then someone else on the other extreme could hate it. and then ask you for money back. Nah, bro, I ain't gonna do that. I have a bro money back, but if someone's constant, because they said they have a small margin of profit in the food industry.
Most do not, because I took a couple courses in college, like after I got my associates in business, and that was one thing I learned. It's like most don't even break even the
You
first
see what I'm
few
saying?
years. So it's a lot. It takes, and I take my hat off to anybody that's successful in
Yes,
business.
yes.
When it comes to food industry and hospitality, you have to give it to them because it takes a lot of grit and determination to be burning through cash like that, and then
Man.
people are still writing crazy reviews, and you're still
I'm
staying
telling
open.
you, yes.
And it's like year 5, and it's like, finally, it's green. Like,
Yeah.
people from online space will go crazy. Like, that's not,
Oh, yeah.
not a thing.
Yeah,
That's
they'll go
not a
crazy.
thing.
Yeah, I'll give my money back or whatever. I didn't enjoy the food. Bro, I didn't even make money. Nah, dude. No. That's the only industry I would say. One of two. I can't remember the other one now, but there are two industries that I remember saying to myself, I don't know, man, if I'll ever do that. It's not easy. I respect, like you said, respect to the ones that do the restaurant business. I can't do it. I remember, I'm going to tell this story, but bear with me, right? Because originally I'm from Nigeria, right? When I first came to America, my pops took me to a Chinese restaurant. And by the way, to be fair, my pops is no longer in my life. All good. We're grown now. But anyway, at the time, my pops took me to a Chinese restaurant, right? And when we finished eating the food, this is what he did with his wife that he married. They're still married, by the way. They talked to each other and said, "So are you gonna do it?" And the other one said, "No, you do it." Do you know what it did? The wife called the manager and said that she saw hair follicle in the food. And the guy was like, "I'm so sorry." And I'm new in America. I'm like, what the heck is going on right now? So I was watching because I didn't know what was going to happen. Next thing I know, they said, "Sir, don't worry, you don't have to pay for the food." They did not pay for the food. Man, that stuff stuck to me. So not just because on the business side, but the morality of it, right? Why would you eat food and not pay for it? So I'm thinking now in the business side, people do that to restaurants for whatever reason. That's not good. So how do you expect them to grow if you keep doing that kind of stuff? You know what I mean? Man, nah. So respect to them for doing
It's a real thing. And dine and dashers, people who eat and then dip on the bill,
Oh,
that
man.
stuff happens.
Yeah, so if you're gonna do it, yeah, you keep that in mind. That's what comes with it, man. Not me, but yeah. So let's get to the business. So we're gonna talk about problem solving and the approach, right? So I have some questions that I want to ask you, and feel free to interject if you want to say something, okay? So can you walk me through your approach to solving a complex problem for a client that is similar to whatever it is you're consulting, whatever industry you're consulting? Let's say you're consulting for a restaurant, right? Is there a way to walk me through a process or approach you use in solving a complex problem with them? You can use any industry you want to.
Okay. Well, normally I work with service-based businesses.
Okay.
I don't really do. I started off with like product based and stuff like that, but over the years, it's just naturally I serve people who do service based businesses very easy. And what I'm going to say is not profound or innovative by any means, but it's something that people talk about and they don't do.
Okay.
And that's reverse engineering. I stand on that because a lot of times people get caught up in, I have a problem, and they hire someone and then they get caught up in the problem. I'm caught up in what's the solution first. So what is the outcome you're looking for? Because a lot of times, as I'll say, as experts, and the issue that I see a lot is they're not solution based.
Okay.
It's just like, let me fix it. So for me, I'm looking at what is the outcome that you need to, one, not only fix this issue, but create scalability, longevity, and still is lasting once I remove myself. Because that's another issue I see a lot of, that once a consultant or strategist, or even if you say a business coach, exit out from the relationship, their contract's over, then things start going backwards because it's not repeatable. It's like you have to be there in order for the client to continue on. I don't like that approach. Any person that works with me, we have a plan so you can continue to implement it, and it's done. Like now you're moving to the next thing. So for myself, again, I'll ask them like, what are you looking to do? And they might say something very vague or broad. I need more clients. Like that's normally number one thing people say. I need more clients.
Right.
Okay. So then my question is, how many clients do we need? And most people don't know. They don't know how many clients they need. So then I'll say, okay, well, how much revenue do we need to make? Why they don't know that either. So then I start going into what is the goal here? Is the goal that your business is scaling because you want to hire a team member, maybe an assistant? Do you just want to be able to get off of your 9 to 5, or you want to be out of your savings? Are you burning through cash? So like I have to get the whole purview of like, what are you trying to achieve and what is this meant to do? Because if you're trying to scale your business so you can get on staff, then my approach is going to be different than someone who might be a solopreneur who just wants to leave 9 to 5.
Gotcha.
Because that takes two different types of strategies. We have two different types of angles. Then how much money do you need? Because you need to be profitable. You need to be able to feed yourself. If you have staff, you need to be able to feed the staff, give them a decent salary. That's normally how I approach it, is getting from underneath the surface. Like, what is it? What are we looking to do? What is the goal? And defining it with numbers. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but it drives me crazy. People don't like numbers. Like, people just, because, I blame, during the pandemic, everybody had like 10K was the golden. No, everybody wants 10K. If your business is doing $10,000 a month, you're
good.
rich. You
Yeah.
get it. And then people hit 10K and be like, dang, that's not enough money for an agency. It's not it's a good starting point, because, most businesses aren't going to see 6 figures. But like, once you get it, no one thinks about like what comes after that.
Yes.
So that's why I normally come in, because they're starting to realize like this 10K a month is not enough for me. I retired my husband too early. It ain't enough for him. We got 3 kids. It's definitely not. And I was going to hire this person. I can't pay the contractor. So we'll come in and I'll look at the structure. What are your numbers? What are your conversions? How many calls do you need to have per week? What does your revenue need to be? And then we'll look at the revenue for the year. What does that mean per month? What does that mean per week? What can that mean per day? Okay, what are your offers? Do your offers allow you to scale to that number? Because sometimes you might start off new and it be competitive. You might be lower price. So people have like a signature offer or flagship, whatever, but that's not going to scale you to millions. So now you need a suite of services. Maybe you need to go up. So those are the things I start looking at. But it always starts off again, what is going to be the outcome? Reverse engineer it, and then we're going to break it down to stuff that's manageable.
Wow, this is why, now I understand why they said you're the wise friend. Yeah, that is similar to what Solomon did in the Bible with when they brought him the children. Remember the story? When they brought him that he reverse engineered it. And so you're telling me right now that not many businesses do this.
They say they do, but not at the level it should. Because again, they'll say, oh, you want $100,000? That's only $10,000 a month.
Yes.
Okay,
actually
but what
less.
And it is less. And then I tell people all the time, how much does it take to run your business? Most people don't know. I'm like, how much money does it take to run your business? Because let's say you do $20,000 a month, but then you're paying yourself, you have software fees, whatever, that are getting to, let's say, $18,000 a month. You're only going to see $2,000. That's probably not going to be sustainable for you.
Not sustainable at all.
So that's what I'm saying. People just say, well, we're going to reverse engineer and get you clients, and we're going to post some content, and we're going to book calls. But that's not enough, because what's the end goal? That's something that I learned working in brick and mortars first, and product-based businesses first, because most of these individuals had to like take out a loan, put skin in the game to really like start a business, versus just popping open that laptop and go live and start building an audience. It kind of makes this like detachment from like really good business principles. And I work with a lot of online business owners, and most of them don't have a business plan. They don't have certain things in place. Like, what if you get sick? So it's just when they see what the trend is, what the numbers are, and they just say, I want that, but they hit that, and there's never a plan of what's next.
I'm
in my MBA program right now, and one of the things I've really been studying are successful businesses. Like, you think about Meta, and I know Elon Musk is not popular right now, but even for Tesla, like that's something, like one thing I really love that he did, and I was talking to my son about that this morning, was that he had a very simple 4-step plan. And it was like, let me roll out this one car. When this car does really well, then I want to make some like 2 other models. And then that's more like available to like the regular middle class family. And then those did really well. And I'm going to take that money, invest in something else. Like, he had a very simple process. Most people just come on like, I just want to make some money.
Right.
How much money?
Right. Be specific with it.
Be specific. Or now we see a lot of people closing their doors in this economy, not getting clients the way they used to. Market is crazy since the last, I want to say almost year and a half, because a lot of folks didn't have a plan. A lot of people, and I'll say this too, one thing, if anybody gets anything from this, people need to start being innovative. And when I say innovative, it's not to the point of you have to make something brand new, never seen.
Reinventing the wheel.
Get that. Yeah, a lot of people get that. It's to reinvent the wheel. But I always say innovate the wheel. How do you make it better? That's how we have Lamborghini and we have Ferrari. Right, Lamborghini's only here because Ferrari played in his face real bad. He had a Ferrari.
That's a good point.
And so he didn't go and Lamborghini and say, oh, I'm going to find a new type of something to transport people. He's like, no, I'm just going to make a car that's better than yours.
Right. And he tried to work with him, by the way. And he refused.
And he was like, what do you know? Go build tractors. Like, well, you ain't got no business over here. What you mean? Facts. You just don't know how to drive a sports car. He's like, yeah, I'm about tractors. I'll show you some tractors. I'm going to show you some tractors.
Interesting.
So that's what I tell anyone is like, look at your industry. You can stay ahead just by always keeping the pulse of people, asking questions, improving what you're already doing, and then looking at gaps, especially people who are afraid of AI. AI is not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere at all.
It's not. Yes. So I always encourage people, instead of being afraid of it, start looking for opportunity.
Word. I know
opportunity.
I know a guy that works in software development that is afraid of AI. So, I mean,
if I was him with that skill set, the way I would have been the next Bill Gates by next year, please.
I swear to God, I know. I actually wanted to do business with him, but he's caught up in some things, not illegal things though. He just struggles in his personal life. So, but he is afraid of AI, and I know people are afraid because they think the AI is gonna, get rid of humans. I don't think so though. Like if you think about it, spiritually speaking, I don't think humans are going anywhere. Just like, remember when they said that the horse sheaves, what do they call those things that horses have that they used to polish? Is their feet, but I don't know. They call hooves. I think hooves.
The hooves?
The hooves. Okay, remember before, I don't know if you recall this. If you read Think and Grow Rich, I think he emphasized on it, right? How they said that when cars come, it will disrupt that industry because it was an industry of people that used to shine it. Okay, but it disrupted the industry and new industry was created. Guess what? More people had to go to serve the new industry. So it's not like humans are going anywhere because AI is in place. And by the way, horses are still there, right? So people should not, because of your fear that AI is going to take over, and not learn it. So I'm in agreement with you there. Yeah.
And it's never going. I forgot what company. I just saw this the other day. I can't think of the company name, but there was one company that got overzealous with replacing humans with AI. Saw a drop, so now they're adding more humans, and that's why I tell people it's not going to replace everyone. At the end of the day, because think about how many times we call a phone. Just before we had AI was like really taking over, just the automatic voice system. Everyone pushes 0 and screams customer service. That's why I just tell people, like, you get on the phone, we're all screaming customer service, we're all hitting 0.
We're all hitting 0
to the options yet. Facts. Like they can just start talking. I'm like 0. I didn't hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They could have said press 1 for a live person. We didn't even hear that. We just instantly 0 customer service.
Oh, God, that's a good point.
So we all still are going to. Every company is still going to need human touch somewhere.
1,000%.
But smart people, anywhere that you may be replaced by AI, learn to train it in that area. Show yourself as a skill set.
Yes.
Like that's something that people that I know, they've taken their skill set and they work as contractors to train AI in certain areas because AI needs training.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, look at it as an opportunity of like, what do you have? And then how can you put yourself together? Like I have an AI offer launching in the next couple weeks for founders and CEOs because in consulting, as a consultant, I know founders are using AI as strategic advisors. They go to it, they talk to it, but a lot of people don't know how to fine tune it to get the best output. And a lot of people in AI doesn't have a strategist mind because it's being trained by humans. So if you're coming on, is it going to learn you and your business? Sure. But is it going to be at the deepest level that I know when I'm running analysis for your company? No.
Yeah.
So I merged the two. I have a hybrid coming together with the done for you offer for founders
Yes.
to put the two together, because you still do need a human being,
Yes.
because AI makes errors and you still can
1000%.
power AI once I'm lining up. But see, I'm not afraid of that. I've been working on that for like a whole year.
Yes.
Just watching the industry, watching how founders are integrating it, seeing how CEOs are leaning on it.
Yes.
And these prompts and stuff that are generic off of Etsy is nonsense.
I see.
So that's why I encourage anyone, look for the opportunity in your market.
Yes. Word to the wise. Man, it's almost like you answered most of my questions though with the things you've said. I was going to ask what industries or types of projects, but you already answered that. So we're going to the next question. Can you share any type of case study where you helped a client achieve measurable results?
My favorite one ever, I tell this is like my ultimate. Well, I have two, but this
Okay.
is like out of the two, probably like my top one.
Okay.
So I had a client and she was in the relationship space, and I have had a lot of relationship like coach people, but they've been solid. None of that gender war stuff, thankfully.
Okay.
But for her, she was
Interesting.
just really solid. So when she came to me, her issue was she felt like she maxed out on her social media platform. She wasn't quite getting clients the way she needed to.
Okay.
And that's a fallacy a lot of people fall into. Now, I do think that you can build an audience and should be building an audience, but you have to build the right audience. So I tell folks, like,
1000%.
because I know how many times have we seen people, and I know you do marketing, so you know there's like people who have like 1 million followers and broke, 500,000 followers
1000%.
and broke.
Facts.
And people think that they really, and like we know because we work with them, talk to them, they come to us, can't pay the invoice, and it's just like, how are you not monetized? Like, how you have no one buying anything?
Right. Not the right audience.
So I was telling her, like,
Interesting.
let's divorce from that thought that because your audience is small, you can't sell, or your audience is exhausted. And I was put this in there. One huge thing for her that I encourage a lot of people to do is that when your audience has been with you for a long time, then you have to start graduating people. And what I mean is that if you start off with one offer, start building up on, after this offer is done, what can I move them into? Or if they can't afford this offer, what will be a good first step so they can move into the next thing?
Right.
And so for her, she's like, well, I've talked to these people. And I said, okay, so it's time to bring them up, because now you've educated them to a point they need something more in depth.
Right.
So long story short, built out a new luxury, because that's my vibe, a new luxe type of offer, 3 tiers. And she said, okay, let's do an early bird. So she sold out her early bird. The goal was, I think, like 4 people. She sold it to 6 and didn't even realize she went past her goal. But the thing for me was she didn't do one sales call.
Okay. How did she do it?
Not one sales call. And she had less than 1,000 followers.
Wow. She didn't do one sales call. So did she run ads or something?
Call. So no ads. All
really?
Organic, and just warm outreach. And so that's the type of process that I teach her, because she was like, oh, because when she was talking to me and we were just doing one of our calls, and she was like, yeah, she had a family member she was caregiving for that had been ill. And so I was like, okay. And she was like, I'm like, how did the sales look for this past week? Oh, well, I sold to 6. So I said, let's just pause for a minute. I'm like, so you sold 2 more offers than we planned.
Right.
Without getting on any calls, while being at the hospital 7 days a week to be a caregiver to your sick family member.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you only have, I think she had like 800 and something people on Facebook.
Interesting.
We brought in $52,000 in cash.
No way. Interesting. Does she have like a newsletter or something that she uses?
No newsletter. Just
what?
Post. So I went through her content.
You gotta be kidding me. That's interesting.
No, this is why it's my favorite, because here's the thing. I'm very big on people leaning into what they're good at. Now, I do think that email is important. So I'm not telling anybody don't do an email list.
Of course.
I'll look at how can we get to your goal the fastest, and what you're really good at is normally it. Because a lot of folks will look online and hear people say, for instance, I do cold DMing, and they'll say, my sales are slow. I hate cold DMs, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And could it work? Maybe. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to stick with it, because mentally it's a task. You don't want to do it. And I know that you have to fall in love with the boring, but you should know what you do well. Now, for her, she's a very strong writer. to the point that when we worked together, she ended up being like a guest contributor on Bumble. They reached out to her and said, "Hey, can you Bumble, the dating app?
I
They're
know
like,
Bumble,
can
the
you
dating
come on
app.
and be a guest?"
Really?
So I told her, since you're a strong writer, let's position it now to get people to move. So I'm like, when people are reacting, reach out to people you worked with before, because this is now elevated offer. Talk to the people that are engaging. If they're saying, "Wow, this resonates with me," do a warm outreach. "Hey, thank you for commenting." And people understand how much money is made just by like telling people thank you. I have had slow sales, and some people just engage, and I'm like, "Hey, I saw you saw this. Thank you so much."
1,000%.
And I have people who say, "You know what? I just didn't think I could afford to work with you." And I'll be like, "Well, how much do you think you need to work with me? Like, did you ever look at the pricing?" And I've had conversations, and I'm getting my invoice paid the same day. So it's really, but I know I'm a good writer. So I've leaned heavy into that, going live, because I'm really good at speaking. I do send out good emails. So that's what made the difference for her. And so I'll slide in this one more, because I had another client after her, did $24,000, no social media.
How did she do that?
Her podcast. So she came to me. She says,
Really?
"Hey," she says, "I need to," she was like, if you don't work out, I'm closing my business down." That's what she said. She was like, "I'm sick of it. I'm burned out. I'm closing my business. I don't want to do this anymore." And she had a community. And here's the other thing for her. I told her, your issue is you're burned out because you're over serving for people that are out of your wheelhouse. Because she was charging like something crazy. I think it was like let's just say $200 a month. But for the amount of service, I'm like, that's absurd. Why?
Like, she needed to add more service to it?
She was just over. So I think
she was
at
doing
every
over.
price point, it should be like a certain level of access. So they had like the level of access, and she's giving a level of service if you're like a one-on-one client, but they're paying $200 for a community. No.
Okay.
So my thing to her was, and I told her too, you're complaining about the people you're working with, so maybe these aren't even the people you're called to serve.
That's basically it. Yeah.
So we reworked her.
So I just have a question on that. So you're saying, she was over serving them at $200 a month?
At her price point, yes.
Really? Isn't that supposed to be good? No.
I don't want people to think
that's why we know you're the pro.
I'm not saying don't cheat people out of their money.
Right.
But when you're a service provider, you have to be realistic about the level of service.
Okay.
Because this is how I look at it.
Okay.
If I have a client that pays me $10,000, and then I have a client that pays me $1,000, and they're getting the same thing, why would somebody pay? How's that fair to the person giving me $10,000?
No, heck no.
So I was telling her, it's a lack of integrity, and it's a sense of disrespect to your high-paying
100%.
They're paying for exclusivity. They're paying for proximity.
Facts.
And they could have just been $200 a month.
I got you now.
Thing.
That's very clearly explained.
And then energetically, it doesn't make sense, because you're gonna burn out. You can't serve that many people at that
amount.
Like,
I see what you mean. No, I'm agreeing with you. Go ahead.
So we reworked our target audience, and it turned out all like the type of women she wanted to work with were more like judges, lawyers. They had been in her audience the whole time.
Oh, wow.
But she's so focused on other people that she missed them. So then she's like, "Well, you're so good at content and, visibility. I want to, work that." So this is where the reverse engineering came in. I said, "Okay, how have you been getting clients? Have you been signing people up through? How you been getting them?" "Oh, well, my podcast." So I said, if you've been having people book you through your podcast, why are we going to stop doing the podcast?
Right. Because she was tired already, right?
Let's just change the context of the podcast. Let's shift what you're talking about in the podcast, so you're talking to the right people. So long story short, after launching, she got in, 3 new clients at $24,000 total in sales. And since then, she's brought up her offer to $10,000 and still selling it.
Right. Because when you hit a threshold of money, you're like, you ain't going back. Like,
listen, she was like, they buy it at 8. They're gonna buy it at 10. And she was like, she offers like a little discount for paid. I think she reached out to me last week. She's like, "Yeah, I'm selling that same offer at $10,000." She was like, "I do paid it. I paid in full for like $9,000." And she's like, "And people be paying it in full at the $9,000." I'm like,
yeah. You see, that's the thing. I don't know if you heard the terminology paradigm shift. The guy that I heard it from is called Bob Proctor. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Bob. Okay, good. So you know how he talks about paradigm all the time. He's like, when you get to a certain threshold and you break through it, oh yeah, you ain't going back. No way. like you said, they paid 8K. Oh no, they're gonna pay 10. Facts though.
Exactly.
But people don't know this though. They're just stuck in. Okay, so she was offering 200, just flat out 200, but she's serving them in, like, some people need more person to person interaction, but she's doing it. She's doing the same thing for those that need one on one and those that don't need one on one. So yeah, I see what
I think she
you're
couldn't
talking
move
about.
them. She couldn't even,
Yes.
you know, when you start people lower, and that's what I told her. I said, people aren't going higher because they're getting everything they would get if they paid you more. I said, if I could come to
Yeah.
you, contact you directly, why am I going to pay you five? I think her offer then was like maybe 5 or 7 max. I said, why would I pay you $5,000? I can get it at 200. I'm
Right.
talking to you anyway at 200. I'm
Exactly.
sending you messages on WhatsApp for 200. Why would I pay you anything more?
Facts.
I'm getting it. There's no benefits. That's why I tell people, it's like you want to blow people's socks off at, you know, if you have a membership or a low tier offer, you want to blow their socks off,
Yes.
but you need to want them to have more. It's like, dang, more so of like, if I get it like this, I can only imagine. Like if you go to, like, I've never been clubbing, but just for like the sake of like, you know, you have people that have the VIP area, and it's like, if the club lit over here, who's it gonna be if I'm over there in the section with some bottles?
Right.
That's what you want people to feel. Is like, everybody likes to have that exclusive feeling. And I think a
1000%.
lot of people that heart led, or what they call it, heart centered, I don't buy into that. You have bills. So you can serve, your business should serve people, but it also should serve you too. Because if not, open up a nonprofit. That's what I tell people. If you're so bothered on, you know, charging people for a service, open up a nonprofit and pay for some grants.
Hey, you be surprised to hear that nonprofits make a ton of money with politicians
So I'm
and
like,
stuff.
if you don't like the standard for-profit business model
Right.
of sales and having to charge people for your services just hurts your heart to charge them, cool. Open up a nonprofit and apply, get you a good grant writer,
That's a
get
good
you
one.
some grants, and pay yourself like that. Like, there's
Facts.
an
Facts.
alternative.
Facts.
But if you want to do business, like for-profit business, you're going to have to charge people for your time.
So next question would be, what how important is it to have a consultant like you in a business?
I would say, this is how I always tell people, you have to know when to hire out.
Okay.
Because I will tell most people, if you don't, if someone like me, and this is a part that I had for my own growth and development, doing this for like almost a decade. I work better with people who have already got their chops busted a couple of times. So you've already had clients, you already have some success under your belt, because it's a mindset thing. So most people who start off new, and you know how it was when you first start off, you want to work with everybody.
Yes.
You're more stressed out about bringing your sale in. You don't really care too much about the person behind the sale. It's just the fact you feel good that you're making money.
Yes.
Like, somebody wants to buy from me.
Yes.
But then over time, you might have a couple bad clients, some bad experiences.
Yes.
You have a person who did well, but you like, man, please don't ever come back. Like, I don't want to see you again.
I've
Don't
been
contact
there.
me after this. Like,
I've
I can
been
refer
there.
you out. I don't want to see you again.
Yes.
So people like that who are like, you know what, I've proven myself to an extent, but I'm ready for more. So that's where the type of people that hire me, they're like, I'm ready for more. I need more. I need to elevate. I need more sophistication. I need to streamline. And also, the biggest reason why people hire me, and this is my personal mission, I get tired of seeing people be CEOs and don't have a life. And people sell that like that's such a normal part. Like, is business busy? Yes. Are you going to have seasons where you're going to work at 80 to 100 hours, maybe a week? Yes. But when it becomes a lifestyle for a person, we have an
Not
issue.
good. Okay.
Because that tells me that there's a bottleneck somewhere, whether it's you're too involved, or you don't have enough systems in place, or you don't have the right staff to handle it. Or again, in case sometimes I meet CEOs, it's just them. They're insecure of letting go. So they always in everybody jobs and business. And it's like, why did you hire a staff if you're still going to be with the staff? Like, you have to be able to leave, move forward, keep the company going. So that's who I normally work the best with. And I would tell people, if you're not profitable, you're not being able to bring in sales on repeat, you probably don't have any business hiring anybody in the first place. And I know some folks will probably disagree with me, because there's some people that are, how can I put it, that do work specifically with like people just starting
like beginners,
out.
yeah.
But I would just say be careful because there's a lot of, again, they gonna get my head for this, but there's a lot stateside. There's a lot. I just know what I know. Cause like, no, some business coach gonna be shaking their fist like, geez, like I did this for my clients. I would just say respectfully, and especially in this economy, I know money is everywhere in the manifestation stuff.
Yes.
But honestly, business is a risk and everyone can't take.
Yes, it is.
Everybody's not comfortable spending $5,000 and maybe not getting the result they wanted.
Whoa, yeah.
And people don't like to talk about it, but that is the thing. Like some people, $2,000, losing that $2,000 is all they had. And then it's like, now what? Because it's not a guarantee that what they're going to teach you is going to work. There's not a guarantee you're going to get the clients at the end of that program.
Yeah, I see.
So, I mean, and show me someone with 100% success rate. I'll say something different, but most in my industry, 88% is like good practice. Like 88% success rate is good practice. So but that tells you that some of the people we consulted didn't succeed. Some people spent money with us. They didn't get to the point that they wanted to get. And that's just the ugly part that we don't talk about because it's not good for content. It's not good for, it's not good for business.
That's a good one.
But that's the thing. So I tell folks, if you know that you have a discomfort on investing, and most people do early in, don't. Because if it doesn't work out, it's going to deflate you. The other thing is most people who aren't profitable don't even really know what the issue is yet.
Wow.
You don't really know because you assume you're not getting sales. You need a sales coach. But maybe it's your marketing. Maybe it's your positioning. Maybe it's your product or service. Maybe that's not, what the market wants. And for the love of, I'm going to say this, please market research before y'all put this stuff out in the world.
Yo.
I can't. Why do people do that? They just wake up and say, I'll say, did you look in the market? Well, I just know it's going to work because I love it. And then they spend a month all night drinking Red Bull, bloodshot eyes, because you put this website together and paid all these software fees, put out a content calendar for 30 days, and you post it, and then nobody buys from you, and then you feeling devastated. Because you never asked anybody. I've literally asked people, done polls, and I say, if I do this, would y'all buy it? I've had some people not even comment. Wow. Guess what? I didn't waste any time. I didn't build it. Y'all don't want it.
Yeah. Word.
But people are afraid of rejection. It feels better to tell yourself that I'm going to hype myself up. And if I say it loud enough and I believe in it, people are going to buy it versus saying, hey, do y'all want it? And people be like, nah, I don't want it. We're good. I'm not interested. I'm good. I don't want that.
Oh, God have mercy, man. Word. So, it's an uncomfortable truth, but it's true, though. Market research. I mean, I just talked to a guy. It's funny you brought it up. I just interviewed a market research expert that talked about it, and he opened my eyes too, because I know a little bit about market research, but not as much as this guy opened my eyes, man. I'm like, that is so true. Like he told me, like probably 90% of businesses do not do market research. And he said that because of that, they tend to lose out on the target audience, which even if it's 50 of them, you know that they're going to buy. Just like you give an example with your own client. They need to determine or identify that target audience, like the judges, like you said, the judges, the lawyers. If you didn't do, I'm sure you did a little bit of market research to identify that those were, yeah. So that makes sense. So that could be also an added reason for them to consult with you, for them to want to consult with you.
You need to elevate. And I think there's also a fear, even for people that are established, there's this fear of like leaving your first crew behind. Like they'll look and say, well, this segment of people, I see it all the time. They'll be like, well, I don't want to price this as high because the people that we've been working with are, and there's almost like it feels like a betrayal, like, but then they can't. And I'll say, well, keep that offer. If you want to scale,
add more.
You know that it's working, but now build off of it. So once this person, like for instance, somebody works with me when I first started out, this is how I learned the hard way. I had a 6-week boot camp for $500, which is insane. I would never
you never do that again.
When I tell you, the first 2 clients taught me everything I need to know about mindset, psychology with customers who pay at that price.
Oh, shoot.
Burning yourself out. And you end up being angry, irritable, showing up to the call because you know you just undercharged with a lot. And then they expect more.
And they expect more.
So I say, well, you know what, dang, I'm going to go up to $1,200. But then my clients were making like so like the one who did like 52,000, and I'm like, now you want to pay me $1,200 and you
Right.
got $52,000. The math ain't mathing for me. Like that's
Exactly.
insane.
The value
So
is exceptional.
I went up
Right.
because I had the results. But the thing is, a lot of people again will be. That's what I said about the nonprofit thing as a joke. People will say, well, now these people can't afford it. Like, no, just how can you graduate? So for me, I said, okay, I'll have something lower and I have something at 1,000, but it's enough to get a result and a good experience. So now you want to go into the higher ticket offer because you got the money to pay me, first of all, because I'm there seeing you get the money. I'm helping you to the money. I'm incentivized to get you to the money because I want you to pay me again at a higher price. So I told people there is that thing of like, you know, even for the client, I had the guilt of, well, if I don't help these stay-at-home moms and these middle-class women, and a lot of folks, what they understand is get to the money first and then reach back. I'm very big on that. Get to the money, go where the money is, whether it's government contracts, whether it's corporate contracts. Then, because your business is stable, now it's profitable, it has revenue streams. And you know what? I'm going to say this. This is why people should study people that are successful. Because you saw Bill Gates, all of them people. What do you normally see people who hit millions of dollars, billions of dollars do? They get their money and then they say, well, I'm going to go back and be a philanthropist.
Yes. Yes.
You don't ever see them start, I'm going to be a philanthropist, then I'm going to go out. No, because now they have money, stability, resources, connections.
Yes.
Now you can do all the free stuff, all the philanthropy, all the low cost stuff because you build something sustainable and it can take a hit, it can take a cut because you have that steady money coming in. So that's why I tell people to change their mindset. It's okay to say, you know what, I want to be paid well. And it's okay to say, I only work with a premium client, a sophisticated market for right now. So I can't, like I said, Elon Musk, he with the first car he put out, everybody could not afford that car. But his goal was, let me get the people who can buy this car so then I can drop down and get a car that everybody else can afford. He didn't go with the most affordable car first. Because you're going to get, your highest tier, whatever you can get, it's going to be more profitable quicker. You can scale faster, then drop down to your services.
Are you stuck with slow banks and no funding? Waiting weeks for a loan can sink your business. At Monify, we deliver MCF funding fast, up to $25 million in just 24 to 72 hours. A simple application, lightning fast approval, and money in your bank ASAP. Get back to growing and not waiting. Call Monify LLC today and get funded tomorrow. Texas businesses trust Monify. Will you? Don't wait, because funds go fast. So apply now at www.monify.com or call 1-800-608-0490. Monify, wealth born of character.
So what would you advise a business that just starting off? Do you want them to would you advise them to get a consultant, or do you want them to focus on other things? Okay.
I would say if you're first starting out, and let's say, and the reason I'm not completely opposed, and that's why I said you just have to know if you are willing to invest.
Okay.
Then I would say it would be okay. Only because most people start a business based off their expertise, and their expertise is not business. And that's something people, and I say that all the time.
That's true.
Most people, your expertise is not business.
Oh my
it's
God.
a skill set that you're really good at, that you want to monetize. But that doesn't make you opening a business, eating a couple of clients. Because a lot of CEOs I work with now, they've been 7-figure CEOs, 6-figure CEOs. And they're still not CEOs because they didn't close the gap on being one. They just were like, I built this. But now you're having to fire your staff every other month because you don't know how to hire. You don't know about processes. You don't have SOPs. You can't train anyone. So it's like, I tell people, if you know that if you're willing to put it in, then I will work with someone to get you to close that gap so you understand you need marketing and sales more than you need anything else. People need to know you exist, and people need money.
You need marketing and sales before you need anything else.
And I would say even before marketing, you need sales, because sales often want to mean people. Marketing is sexier than sales, and I say that as somebody who's done both a really long time. Marketing is
I actually agree, though.
It's more fun to speak your opinion. It's more fun to put your logo out there. It's more fun it's just more fun. Sales, talking to people, having to explain to them why they should buy it, going through a process, learning how to process. See, all that sound boring. Somebody hear me say that, they eyes glazing over, they trailing off mentally already. But if you're a new business, and I say this from someone who's done cold sales and trained teams and stuff like that, if we don't have, I worked for a company, we didn't have any real marketing, but we had a team of salespeople that literally went in the neighborhood, going to business owners. Hey, can I talk to you?
Yeah, rigorous.
We can do this. But see,
Grind.
that feels a lot harder to do.
For sure.
But if you don't have money from ads, if you can talk to people, you can make some money. So I'll even say sales is the most important thing, because if you, I tell people, you don't have sales, you have a hobby, you don't have a business.
And so, in other words, with a good sales skill, you can actually get away with having a medium quality product or service.
No.
No?
Here's the
Okay.
thing.
Talk on that.
No.
Yes,
And
talk
I
on
say
that.
because that's what I call when people feel bait and switch.
Yes.
So I'll come with the gifted gab, razzle, great, it's going to be so awesome, and we can do this, and you're going to cut 10 hours a week if you start doing that, and you hyped up. You like, man, this like the answer to my prayer. Chloelle was solid. I love her personality. We was vibing.
Right.
Then you start off, the offboarding is crazy. The service is trash. This is mediocre. And now you're mad. Because now I'm stuck. You stuck in it. Let's say our charge say it's a 6-month contract.
Okay.
Now you stuck in the contract. I said it's not refundable. Now you like, should I charge back? Because I put it on my American Express. Like, it's just, you can't. And I always say sales is easier when you know that you're backing up a very solid product or service.
So should they then focus on perfecting the service, or should they do it interchangeably with sales and marketing?
You should always be improving. So like service and product is never one and done.
Okay.
Because you should be getting reviews. You should be getting client feedback.
That's a good point.
And even the bad kind. I'll even when I offboard my clients, I'll tell them, tell me what you enjoyed the most. Tell me what you wish was different. Because even if they say, oh, it was great, you were awesome, but what would you think is different? And that's how I end up adding in like boxer support at some point. Because some people are like, it would have been nice if I could have accessed you during the week instead of just waiting for a call. I think I was doing email support. And they're like, well, it'd been nice if I could have did voice back and forth. So I did Voxer. And then that made it easier to sell because I felt more comfortable. I'm introverted. I felt more comfortable to send you this email. But I also understand people.
You're introverted?
When something hits. Yeah.
Shoot, no way.
Very much so. I probably won't talk to nobody the rest of the day besides my grandma. I'm not going to hold you after this interview. But I always say the order a person starting off should go into market research, have an idea in mind, market research. This is an ugly word. People not want to do this, but you should a SWOT analysis, see how you're going to stack up in your industry, see where you can close the gaps.
What did you call that?
A SWOT, SWOT. So it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay.
Very old school business.
Yeah.
Very boring for people. But if you take even a hot 30 minutes to an hour just to see how you stack up and identify how you're going to be in the industry, and I know we're in this age of I'm in my own lane. Yeah. And you got some people in next to your lane driving at different speeds.
Yes.
So you need to know who are you up against and how you make yourself different, especially coming out, because you want to know what is your competitive advantage, especially if these people are established, they already have brand presence, they already have followers. How can you come in with less, and that's why I tell people to do it, because then you can ask yourself, okay, they have a big team, I got me and 2 people. So what about that can you switch to show people why that's an incentive and not a threat, why that's not a flaw? And some people say, I like smaller firms. So you can say, you know what, you might not want to work with big corporate firms where you can't reach this person, but here you can. So that's why I tell people, do your market research, do your SWOT analysis, make sure that it's tight, and then handle sales first. Your sales is more important than your branding.
Your sales is more important than your branding.
To me,
interesting.
I know too many entrepreneurs that focus on sales first and their branding second. Because here's the thing, if nobody buys it, if you do all of this stuff and nobody buys it, that's a problem.
Don't you think that people might want to buy it because of the branding? And I'm playing devil's advocate here, okay? I'm pushing back because,
and see, me and some of my friends, my brands, I have brand friends that are brand strategists, and we argue about this all the time. They're like, but wait, if I'm a brand strategist and we help with the offers and market research. But I'm like, but how many people starting off can afford to pay you $10,000 to $15,000 for that?
Right.
So that's the thing for them. I'll tell them how many people starting out can do 10. So what happens is people go to Canva, people go to Fiverr, and that's fine. Nike's logo. Their logo was so cheap.
So cheap.
They just so cheap, and it's still like kind of stuff. So I'm saying you can have that. What I'll say is don't spend so much time. A lot those that becomes like busy work. It makes you feel like you're doing a business. Your business is a business when you have clients. It's a business when it has sales. It has business when someone's getting paid. It's not a business when you're like, okay, let me change this Canva template for the 5th time today because I don't like the font.
And that is branding part, the branding part. Okay.
Like that. So I'm not saying it's not important, but is it as important as sales? No. Because if you took out a loan or you put some money on your credit card, I need to stop the bleeding. I want to be out my personal savings account. I need somebody else to pay. And this is how serious it is. And I'll even use myself as an example. Last year, I wanted to work with an email marketer that I was really cool with at the time. But I hadn't operated for most of the year. I took like last year off from like doing business. And I said, well, there's no way. There's no way I'm about to pay out my pocket. Like, because he was charging weekly. I'm like, I'm not paying that. So I just literally no way. I didn't do a website, anything. I made a Google Doc with about the program. I sat, looked at, okay, what do people need? Cool. Did what I call social listening, which is like putting your ears to the street. What are people complaining about? Made an offer around that. So it was the end of the year. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a 4-month end of the year sprint because everybody's trying to get their last couple of dollars before the year closed. So I'm like, cool. So I did that, put it in a Google Doc, started talking about it, reaching out to people about it, filled up the first 4 spots in less than 2 weeks.
I was going to say my man, but you're lady.
You can say, I'm not even paying. You're like, and then
That's
I
what's
had
up.
people who came back and they said, dang, is it closed? And I signed up, and I actually signed up 2 times more people than I planned.
Wow.
I didn't have a logo.
Right.
I had no visuals.
Right.
Nothing. I had no visuals for it. I just was like, do you want it? Because I just needed the money that fast because he was like, your first invoice is starting. And I was like, oh, I need some money like yesterday. I'm not paying for it. And it paid him. Actually, it paid that off. And then I still had some. Because I started a second cohort. It paid me like for 4 more additional months because I had a whole other new group of people that came in. But if I would have wasted my time of like, man, what should I call this? Man, I think I called it like soft CEO or something like that. But I'm like, what if I just took, I think I end up asking like AI, ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, I'm going to launch this. Could you just make a logo? And I just took it and ran with it. Nobody to this day, those people probably even know what it looked like. They don't care. But they got results. They got results. Somebody in 2 weeks landed $5,000 in sales.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not that it's not important. But again, the first thing need to be first. Bring your money in first. Then if you want your little designer, you got profit. You not stressed. Then elevate your brand. But that doesn't need to be the first thing.
So can you do marketing before sales, or do you recommend doing sales before?
So I'll say this. You definitely can.
Okay.
But if you're going to do marketing, I always tell people you can do it 1 or 2 ways. If you're a new person, a new business, and you're not ready to launch it, I definitely will recommend doing some type of marketing, even if it's just content marketing, because I say bring brand awareness first.
Okay.
Let people get excited. Get people like, dang, when can I buy? So when that happens and you launch, you have people to buy into it.
Okay.
But so I always say that because I have some people like, well, and I'm like, well, go ahead and launch now. Well, I'm not ready to. I'm like, just go ahead and get people used to you. And so when you launch, they're like, finally a chance to work with you. So that's okay. But I always say, if you have marketing, how do I say it? You're not a content creator. You're a business owner. So just keep that in, and that's why I'm always like bigger on start with sales first, because what tends to happen with newer people, they become content creators and they're worried about getting monetized on Facebook, which isn't going to pay you as much as your offer is going to pay you. So I always tell people, you're not a content creator, you're a business owner. So if you're going to do marketing and make that your main thing first before you start learning your skill, like learning sales really well, which is okay, make sure it's converting people.
Yeah.
I see folks all the time sharing their brand story and how they got started, but they never ask people to buy. They never say, hey, click this link and buy, or work with, or, drop the word TTP and then I'll send you over nobody, people, they don't do, they just want people to like them. And then that's how you end up with 100,000 followers and you broke.
Right. That is so good. Oh my God.
So funny.
Now I also see what you mean by when you say you show a little bit of tough love, even in the way you talk. I know you care, but it's just because of this, we're living in a soft generation. People see it as tough, but I think that's pretty good. I mean, everything you're saying is facts.
Because I just get tired of business is hard. Like, you know that business is hard. You don't want to wake up and do it every day. And so I tell people, why
No, you
make it
don't.
more difficult?
Right.
Why make it more difficult? And there's so many folks out here like, all you got to do is download. I got to download from heaven at 12 a.m. All you got to do is play it 7 times for 7 days in a row, and you're going to manifest $20,000.
Oh,
And I'll be like,
what?
and this is real stuff
That's
that
crazy.
happens. Or I mean, there's one of my business like people I met like this new network, and she was in real estate, and she sent something to me like 3 years ago, and she's like, Chloelle, this chick is making millions. And she had just a basic Facebook group charging people for her spiritual downloads.
What?
That she's promising is going to make you just as rich. But the thing is, she's only at millions of dollars because y'all keep paying for these downloads.
What?
They don't, or how like my favorite is like I made people like do a masterclass, but like, yeah, I made like $10,000 because the people paid you to hear you talk about something that they're doing like live in action. It's a finesse. And so that's why I get tired of, and I get exhausted with folks coming and saying, you know, this, I maxed out my credit card and now they can't invest in something else because they didn't get the results. Or they're buying, again, it's like nonsense stuff. Like just meditate hard enough. And if you, my favorite is visualize it, visualize your wealth, visualize the next step, and it's going to come to you. I tell people, if you're visualizing, like, you know, the Bible says faith without works is dead. So yes, you do need to have a level of belief, but your faith should having you do something. Like, it's not just, I believe it's going to work out. No, my belief that this is going to work is so strong. I'm going to tell people about my business. I'm going to market. I'm going to be on my sales calls on time. I'm going to actively sell every day. Like, that's what that means. But people just want something for nothing because they have these pretend people like, yeah, I was a $7 million. I was a single mom on food stamps and now I'm a millionaire in 3 months. And she ran out of Airbnb.
Yeah, that's what people want. Unrealistic. Even Jesus, the king of belief and faith, at one time he was working so hard. He said that the Son of Man doesn't have a place to rest his head. That's how hard he worked, in spite of knowing that faith works. But then hard work, it cannot be, there's no shortcut to it, you know. Wow. But I'm surprised hearing what you're saying about people paying that to get download. Anyway, in a way, I'm not surprised because
I tell you that when you in my space, the consulting space, business coaching space, people let me pull your birth chart and let me find your human, what they call it, your human architecture type, whatever it is. They'll find everything and be like, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do your business. Someone asked me, she wanted to work with me. And then she was like, well, before I do a call with you, like, can I have your birth chart? I said, baby, I don't do stuff like that. And I said, let me tell you something. I was like, I've worked with people. I don't discriminate who I work with. I said, but I have boundaries and I don't go against my values. And I was like, you don't need my birth chart to get results for your business.
But what is that though? What is a birth chart?
So your birth chart is like, they'll look at the time, because one of my mom's friends did that to us when we were younger. And this being in elementary, I didn't know any better. Because she asked me like what day I was born, what time I was born, and you can put it in the pool, like the star constellations and where the sun was at and where the moon is at. And tell you everything about
it's my first time hearing this.
And then you have something called human design. People are using human design to determine it's all types of just stuff out here. And I'm like, if that's your jam, go ahead. But I'm not about to. So I told her, I said, you know, she sent me this. I was like, what are you talking about? She sent me this chart and it was like 2 type of like spiritual tests. And one was like showing points on my body. I said, I'm not about to. I told her, either you, I was like, I have a framework that I use for my clients that works. I got the receipts that work. I got the testimonials that work. So either you trust that, but I told her all of this. How to do all of that.
Well, she sent you hers.
She sent it to me and told me, she's like, take this and send it to me so I can see if I want to work with you or not.
Okay.
No. So I told her, I said, I know some people that, like I told her, I know some like intuitive,
oh my God,
you know,
people,
business, spiritual business coaches that do that. And I said, so if you want to work with them, they got their charts on file. They can send it to you today. I'm not doing that though. Like, I don't need to do that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the SWOT analysis, right? Is it something you have to hire someone to do for you, or is it some online thing that you take?
No.
Well, how do you do a SWOT analysis?
So you can even Google it.
Okay.
And it's so simple to do. So it just means, even if like Canva has templates for it, so it's just literally your strengths, weaknesses, your opportunities and your threats. And so you just take time to go through research. And this is what people don't like to do. People don't want to sit and research because it's boring. I get it. But you can look and you just sit with yourself and say, okay, what am I strong at? What are my strengths? How, even with the product, or service, what's strong about it? And then you say, okay, what is my weakness? So your weakness could be, for someone who's a solopreneur, like, I'm a solopreneur. And the top contenders have 3 VAs, or the top person here has a bigger audience. Because it puts into you a reality. It just makes things more realistic instead of being that, yeah, I'm a co-win, I'm a launch, I'm a win. It's like, nah, this could hand me up. And so you can get over it ahead of time. So you can say, if it's, I'm a solopreneur, and I'm going to get, and the top people with me, they have a team. What can I do to position myself in the market that somebody will work with me? Or how can I overcome that? So it's just like, if I know I'm a solopreneur and I can't compete with people who have a team in a certain way, then how can I position my offer to still work for me, work for my client that doesn't require me to have a team? So it just makes you think. It makes you think of like, okay, like for instance, if your marketing agency and you don't use AI, maybe that's just something you just don't want to do. Then you could say, well, the people, like my competitor just started adding on AI. And I just had this talk with the founder a week ago. Okay, so if I don't want to switch over to that, then how can I overcome that objection for my business and still stay competitive? How can I position myself in the market against someone that's using AI and we don't? What does that look like? So instead of like running into those problems and be like, dang, they use AI, you already knew that before you launched.
Yeah.
And I tell people, do it for your business, do it for your offer, do it for your product, for your service, whatever it is. And then for opportunities, it's like, again, you're looking, where are my opportunities at? So you're not just posting and praying or going on podcasts and you don't know what you're going to talk. Like, what are your opportunities? Should you be going on podcasts? Should you start a YouTube channel? Should you be going on stages? Should you be going to in-person networking? Like, where are your opportunities at? And then your threats. Who can take you out the game? And how are you going to make sure that, and how can you put a plan in place to make sure that doesn't happen?
Man,
so
I got an idea.
A person to have to be real with themselves.
I got an idea right now from what you're saying that I think you should add to your business artillery. So I think you should have that SWOT analysis thing customized to a page on your website where you can use it to reel in email addresses or contacts of people that are interested, people to take the SWOT analysis, you know what I mean? The SWOT analysis test. I think you should create something like that on your page where, like, for example, if we're doing the podcast and you're doing any other podcast, you say, guys, if you need your SWOT analysis done, because you're a consultant, this is what you do. Go to my website, take it, but it will be a way to get their contact information, man, and obviously offer value to them on their own side. They now know their strengths and weaknesses and stuff. I think you should do that because I've never heard of that.
That's why I said people being in business and like even now, like going back from my MBA, like that comes up. Like when you go to, and that's like most, and I tell people, you don't have to go to school for business, but for me being a consultant, it's been good because people depend on me to know those intricacies and like know the things they don't know. Like most people have never heard of like a Vero analysis or a pestle or Porter's five forces. Right. Like that stuff that a regular, because it doesn't, for a regular entrepreneur, it's like you don't really need that. But if you have someone like me coming in, I should have a clue on how to run an analysis. And all those things do is just help you figure out what's your competitive advantage.
Exactly. It's a form of market research in a way, right? In a way. I swear, if you had that, I'm definitely doing it.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm telling you, you should have that. I'm telling you, you should have that because, everybody doesn't know everything. You know what I mean? And like you said, we need to learn. So if it will help me in my business journey, I'm definitely checking that out. And if it's that good, I'm telling everybody, bro, you got to get this checked out for your business. You know what I mean? So think about it.
Because I was going to put in a quiz for my new offer coming out and I haven't sat down. So like, I'll just make that into the quiz. Thank you.
You have to, man. I'm telling you, that's a freaking good idea though. Like great idea. Introducing that to even me. I read a lot of books. I'm actually reading one right now called Outbound Sales. I don't know if you heard about it. This guy's talking about outbound sales.
I wrote it.
The author is Joshua Garrison. He's one of the sales directors at Apollo.io. So, by the way.
I have a meeting to talk about his company next week. So
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
tell
a
him.
CEO. He put a meet on my schedule because he wants to
That's
get my
what's up.
thoughts on it. So that's cool. Yeah.
Check out his book. Tell him that one
Okay.
of your podcaster friends is reading his book. But it's a pretty good book. I mean, but anyway, what I'm saying is I love the knowledge, learn things that will help me advance. And by the way, my audience, I need to tell you guys, she's walking in the books, by the way. So we're putting her on blast right now. She needs to get that book released by next year. So she's working on a book. Chloelle, we're waiting next year. We'll check back with you on that.
Okay.
But before we wrap it up, I want you to tell us two things that if you go back in time to your old self, it doesn't have to be business related, anything at all. Two things. One, that you're going to tell to your younger self. One is something that you don't want them to do ever. Don't do this again. Don't ever do this. In fact, don't even start. And then two is something that you want them to do as fast as possible. Get it done. What are those two things?
Okay. So I would say the number one thing I would tell my younger self
Yeah.
not to do,
Mm-hmm.
I would tell her not to live by everybody else's expectations.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Because I literally was like, grew up as a chronic like people pleaser, a lot
Right.
of codependent relationships, and that really takes down your momentum because it gives you this sense of like obligation where you're not obliged. So it's
Okay.
almost like putting weights on your own feet because you're always so worried about stepping in for everyone else. So I would find myself like getting momentum. It was like this, and I didn't really catch it until I got grown, like post divorce, starting over as a single mom. And then I started going to therapy because I'm like, how do I not self sabotage? And a lot of it was just how I had my relationships with people that I would, every time and it can be like that. Like people see you getting some emotion behind you, and now it's like, now they want in, or now they want you to help them. But I know even listening to Dave Ramsey, he always made that point too of, you need to set yourself up first before you help other people. And sometimes we'll make our first little bit of money or hit our real big milestone. And now we're in position to help people in this really big way.
Word.
And you're not there.
Word.
So I had to be real. And I said, you know what?
Wow.
I'll help at the place that I'm at. So that might mean that I may not be able to give you $500. It might mean I can't give you $1,700. I might not be able to give you certain things, or I might not be able to, I have to say, no, I have to work on my business this weekend. I have a lunch and that be okay. And I feel okay. And also understand that people that really love you and want to see you win are going to understand. They're never going to say,
absolutely,
like, you owe this to me. How dare you? That's a red flag, and you need to disconnect or create space. So that's the first thing I would tell myself is just like, don't live up to other people's expectations.
Right.
I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. The men in my family, now they can get their hustle on. Like my daddy got a good career, but he does side things, but no one's really like owned a thing, like a business or doing the things that I've done. So when people don't have your experience, they can project, not even sometimes trying to be hurtful, but they'll project their like fears and concerns because it's unknown to them.
Yes.
So that held me back a lot. And then what I would tell myself to do is to go stick with my business. Because when I told you I started my baking business, I did so well. My mom was afraid I wasn't going to graduate senior year. So she thought I know she thought I was going to drop out. I don't know what she thought I was going to do. And I was like an honor student, cum laude when I graduated, top 25% in my class. But she was just like, no. She was afraid that I was going to love it so much I wasn't going to go.
Right. As
So
if college is man, that's our parents right there.
And then in college, I started another little under the table business. And somehow a person my mom knew was so impressed with like the product. They wanted to have, they did distribution. So they said, okay, we'll have your daughter, if she opens like a legit business and gets a commercial kitchen to produce it, we'll distribute it in the grocery stores.
What?
So I was excited. And my grandma said to me, she said, don't let anybody talk you out of it. And my mom came again and said, you need to finish school. No. And my grandma was like, don't do that. And I was just like, but me thinking, whatever. And I turned down and I had the commercial space, about to go sign the contract, everything.
Freaking way.
Turned it down and didn't do it. So
man,
I would tell myself, stick with your,
right.
I could have been the next Black Betty Crocker by now.
Right. I mean, that tells that, wow. Yeah. That's a very good one. I tell
myself to stick with it.
You see, that's the thing. I actually interviewed someone that said something similar to this, but his was military. He wanted to go into the military try several times, but his family just wouldn't let him go, right? And now he's trying to tell himself that, yeah, it was for the better, maybe he would have died. Now, this is my thought. After we had the interview, right? I was thinking to myself, because I usually reflect on things. I was thinking to myself, so what if he died? So what? He fulfilled his purpose. You know what I mean? Jesus died at 33. He fulfilled his purpose. So I'm not saying that he would have died. There's no way he could have known, right? But he's saying, yeah, maybe it was for the best that he would have died. So what? You died. You fulfilled your purpose, bro. Now, I'm not saying that he must have, that he's a must, that he should have been in the military. But now, though, I can tell you right now that when I was talking to him, the gift is still in him. The purpose is still in him to want to be part of the military. But it's been over years, like, you know what I mean? So we were talking about it, and I said, bro, it doesn't mean that we should disobey our parents, but our parents are not always right. And he said, yeah, it's true. And now I have to reflect on that when I have my own kids, that, you know, I have to be very careful. And when my kids, something is calling on them, like you right now, the business has been calling on you, right? Oh man, when something is calling on my child, I need to be very attentive to say, I might not like it, but as long as it's moral and legal. I'm not saying something.
Right. That
yeah,
part.
no, I'm gonna say no.
You ain't gonna end up in the pen. You're good.
Exactly.
But
I'm saying no
for my
to
mom,
that. Yeah.
she just did what was done to her because my mom was a professional singer. She said go around singing gospel music. And she had a full ride scholarship to a music school, and my granddaddy told her no. He's like, you're not going to school for that. And so the career she's in now is what she chose as an alternative. And she's just like, and see, like I had a career. And so when my divorce happened, she's like, see, you should be happy because now you know you have a good job. And I'm just like, but I could have been, who's not to say I would have been a millionaire by now? Probably never even probably would have never got married to become a single mom. Just like probably would have been getting married now, like in my you just never know how life takes you. But as a mom with my own son, like for him and our family, basketball is our sport because I'm like 5'9". All the boys are like 6 something. All the boys play basketball from like uncles, everybody. So when my son at 3 was like, I want to do soccer, everyone was like, the height, like how's he gonna wait? Like don't let him waste his height. So he's 9 now. So you're talking about we've been doing soccer 6 years. And it took everyone, like he did basketball last winter, but it took everyone a little bit of adjustment to get used to the idea of like we have a tall boy in our family who's not playing basketball.
Yeah, I hear you.
And they even said, hey, put him in basketball. And I would say, well, babe, do you want to play basketball? No, mama, I want to play soccer.
You see?
So I said, he's like, soccer is my thing. Now they come to the games, but I was like, no, or like what he wants to do career wise, like he loves STEM. He's already put in his mind he's going to be an engineer. I'm not interested. Like when he was like, mama, I don't want to do what you do. Like he was like,
told you straight up,
do what you do. What do you want to do? I want to do, I love science. He's good, really good at math. He reads at a middle school level already. And so he's just like, well, I want to build robots. I want to do this. So that's part of the reason why I'm going into AI.
Yes.
Because I'm like, that way we have a way to connect because he sits on my business stuff. So he understands a lot of that. But he's like, I used to do a lot of marketing. He's like, I don't like marketing, mama. So when he saw me do consulting, and I'm showing him now how we're going to use AI. And I've been teaching him that. That has him interested. And so I wasn't sitting here like, his dad works with planes. And I'm like, he's like, I ain't doing either one of them. So I wasn't like, no, you better pick what your dad does. Because, his dad is in deep in that and been in his industry a long time. And
like aeronautical engineering?
Do it. I'm like, I respect it. And looking at him, his mind has always worked like that.
Right.
Like an engineer. And we have one of his grandmothers is an engineer. And she told me, she said, listen, he has an engineer mind.
Right.
Let my baby be an engineer.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. What you're doing is, man, we should have probably talked more about parenting and that's beautiful what you're doing. You're identifying, that's very good. You identify what happened with your mom and relating to you, and then you're now seeing how to adjust things with your children. This is what it should be with parenting. You need to identify the patterns and then change it, because otherwise it will repeat itself.
It will.
Oh, yeah.
It really
patterns
will.
are powerful without you even knowing that you're repeating the same thing. If you don't identify it and change it, you do the same thing. So that's very good what you're doing with your son. But most parents don't even pay attention enough to their kids. They just have a way. I guess they want to live through them. I'm not gonna do
Or
that for
sometimes
sure.
I mean, really being a parent is either you have to make sure you're not living through your kids. And
Yes.
sometimes you get, the things that you went through or things you missed out on, and then you want them to do it for the sake of the fact you feel like if I would have had it, this is really good.
Word.
Or you're so busy providing that you miss out with your kids.
Huh.
And that's something I promised myself
Yes.
when I found out I was going to be a single parent, because I have been a stay-at-home mom with him for like the first couple years of his life, like
Yes.
his foundational years.
Yes.
So I told myself, I said, listen, girl, you finna about to be a single mom,
Oh,
and you
man.
have to work. But I told myself, I said, what I'm not going to do is, I said, I don't want my son to grow up and his memory is, well, my mom always made sure I was taken care of, but she missed my games, or she wasn't there, or she
man.
didn't go. So I've always, when I worked for people, I
Yes.
told them straight up, I have to have, if I can't have flexibility to be with my son,
Yes.
it's not going to happen.
Yes.
So I've only missed one game in 6 years. I've been a single mom now for about 4.
Yes.
I've only missed one game in 4 years. And that's because we had a fly out for business. He's going with me on my business trip.
I see.
And he had 2 games back to back. So I was like, I'm going to miss the first game.
Yes.
But I'm at the second game, and he didn't care because he's like, he's like, mommy, you've never missed a game.
Oh.
So that's how he looked at me. He's like, mommy, you never missed a game. You never,
Smart.
like, you don't
Smart
miss
kid.
anything. So in his mind, he's like, lady,
You're good.
You always here. Like, go do you. That's fine. You can miss this one. So, but that's how I am intentional. Or even one of the other soccer moms I was talking to, she told me she works 7 days a week in her job.
What?
And she works from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I told her, I don't know how you get up by 5 a.m. And she said, she looked at me, she said, I get off. She's like, I work those hours because I want to be here with my boys.
Oh, okay.
She was like, I want to take them to
Makes
their
sense now.
practices. I want to be there. And I'm like, and it's just like, you have to make that intention of like understanding when they get here, it's about them. So whatever you didn't get to do, too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
You either find a way to put it in between, or you wait till they're grown and then do what you want to do.
Word to the wise.
But that's what people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good, but it's like, it's not, he didn't ask to be here.
He didn't ask to be here. It's true.
He didn't ask to be here. So thankfully, there's a lot of stuff I have got to do.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good support system, so I don't have to give up everything.
Yes.
But there are some things, I have to hold off on, because if it's between his experience, like this summer, he's going to summer camp, he's going to robotics class, he's going to coding.
Wow.
Those things are financial sacrifices. So some stuff I'm gonna have to wait on because you need to develop, because this is your time now.
Yes. Yes.
So
you had a lot of wisdom to share with parenting too, man. I didn't know. I could have asked you a lot.
I'm still a little early, but I have a lot of. I always tell other parents, I call them veteran parents.
Yes.
So like for me, being a boy mom, all those friends I had, like his godmom, she already had my god baby. So I was leaning on her and some other moms, like, what do you do with a boy? And like, is this he doing this? Is that normal? And they'd be like, girl, that's just the beginning. Like my grandma has 6 kids, and I'm like, grandma, he be doing somersaults and he want to climb on this and jump. And she laughed. She's like, girl, it just get worse the older they get. Like, it's just gonna get worse the older they get. So and I said that for anything, like business, parenting, whatever.
Yeah.
Have some people you admire that are ahead of you.
Yes.
Don't be the dumbest person you want to be the dumbest person in the room in a lot of spaces, because that's where you learn, where you grow, and be open to doing something different.
Now, man, I want to push back on that because I've had this thought. I've not discussed it with anybody really, but that statement, I don't know, not because it's you that's saying it. I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe we're going to have this conversation another time when I invite you back, but this is my thought. If you're always the dumbest guy in the room, how are you ever going to teach anybody? Is my thought. So, for example, Jesus, if he were in the room, how is he ever going to be the dumbest guy in the room? But then someone says, well, that's Jesus. Okay, let's take Jesus out of the picture. Someone like Abraham, how is he ever going to be the dumbest guy if he's not going to, like, he has to teach someone, so it's not feasible. This is my thoughts, okay?
So I wouldn't say, when I say that, I'm saying it's, of course. So let's go back. So even with Jesus started going to the synagogue when he was a child. But let's even take the fact that he's God in human form. But even for Abraham, I feel like the whole point of being the dumbest person, and I say that is because in this day and time, most people, and you see it in comments, everybody thinks they know everything. So when I say don't be afraid of being the dumbest person in the room, it's like once you hit a point where you outgrowing your space. So like now you may be a person teaching. This is why I say, like, even if you have a mentor, someone that can challenge you to keep growing, because if not, you get complacent. So it's not always, so when I say always be the dumbest person, it doesn't mean in every room you're in, but as
Word.
At some point, when you're like, you're in the room and now you're up on the stage
Yes,
all
sir.
the time,
Yes, ma'am.
you need to find another room that's going to push you and develop you.
Now, okay. There you go.
So like definitely don't always want to be done, because as you grow, it should be giving you opportunity. But I say that to folks that feel like, I never want to get a place in my life where I feel like I made it.
I got you.
And not a point of like discontentment, like, oh, I hate my life or I'm not content with what I have. Yeah. But understanding that like I never want to feel like I got it to the point like you can't tell me anything.
Yeah.
You're not about to show me anything. I know everything. Like I never want to be like that. And it gets easy when you start being successful, getting the following, 100%. Getting the clout. You start being like, who are you to try to tell me?
That's true.
Like, once you hit that, it's time to talk to somebody wealthier than you, done more than you, or been where you are. Even as a single mom, like, even though I've been married before, I don't give marital advice because I'm like, I didn't succeed in that. So I talk to women in like my life. I have a lot of women in my family, like my village, who've been married like 30 years, 40 years, 60 years. I talk to them. How did you last? And then some of them have been in my state where they were divorced and their second marriage, you know, their husbands passed away and they were with the same man for like, and I'm like, how did you do that? Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say like be the dumbest. That's like to contextualize. It's like, yeah, definitely don't be like an idiot. But when you feel like you've hit the point where you know it all, then you need to shift room so you can learn more.
So now, yeah, you've elaborated it and it's better the way you put it. The first time I heard that statement, they said, if you're not the dumbest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So my thought when I heard that was, so I'm never, ever going to be in the right room. But now that's what I thought to myself. So if I'm always, and I agree with you, you cannot always be the smartest in the room, right? But not every room, though.
Not every room.
I know, because you're going to have to transfer the knowledge you have to someone. I thought to myself, whoa, that statement doesn't make sense to me. I'm never, ever going to be in the right room then, because I'm always, you know what I mean? That is crazy, but I'm so glad that you elaborated better. And you're the only person that I've actually had a conversation with. Huh?
That's how I've always seen it when they say that. It's like you never gonna be the smartest person.
Yeah. You're on the wrong.
But I always think of it in the way that if we're all in a room, you have different people at different levels.
Exactly.
So, so realistically, the person who doesn't want to be the smartest in their room, you're there in their room to teach them. And now you're in that same room for somebody smarter than you. And that's just how it should be.
Because you want to be in the room where someone is the smartest, actually, because you want to learn from them, you know? You explain it better. Maybe when you write your book, please clarify that, because nah, man, I don't agree with that first statement, but you elaborate better. Put in your book and reference and say, man, whoever said this statement did not mean it like this, because, man, I don't agree, bro. You know? Anyway, let's wrap it up. But the last thing is just you give an advice to our audience that it doesn't, again, have to be business related. It doesn't have to be family related, whatever the Holy Spirit puts in your heart. Give us an advice, and then that will be it.
Take care of yourself is the first thing I heard. Take care of yourself. I don't
in
think
what
we
way?
say that enough.
In any way.
Okay,
go ahead.
Emotionally, physically. I believe we're tripart beings. We're spirit, soul, and body. And then sometimes what happens is we get so spiritual, we neglect our bodies, we neglect our minds, our will, our emotions. Because we get so caught up in like, and I've been in that space where it's like, all I want to do is pray and fast, but then my finances were a mess. I owe people that I probably shouldn't be owing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not together, but I'm praying though, or I'm reading my Bible. But I have to apply that stuff to my life. Or when I think about, or you still got to live in it. People sometimes, especially people with like faith or like even Christians, sometimes we have that bad where we're so focused on like the spiritual realm. Like I grew up in like different spaces like that we forget you need to go to the doctor and get your annual and get your blood checked.
Wow, that's true.
You need to eat healthy. One thing I told myself after playing that game and my body still sore 2 days later, I was like, girl, you got to eat a workout plan. Like you need to start walking, getting outside, getting some vitamin D. So I always say, take care of yourself, because what ends up happening is normally we're reactive about that. It's like, I'm sick, or now I'm depressed, or I have anxiety, or I'm tired. Now I want to take care of it, instead of being preventative by just making sure that your spirit is together, your body is together, your mind is together. So then that way, not only can I prevent a lot of that stuff. But I also have the tools that if something's wrong, I can tell if I'm sick, or I know what to do, or I know, but sometimes when you're so used to putting your body to the max, you living off of adrenaline, you crash, and now your mind, spirit, and by everything to it.
Right.
So I'm really big on that. It's like, just from experience, like take care of your whole self. Take care of everything.
Thank you so much. Chloelle, the Bond lady.
You're so funny.
Yeah, you need to audition for the role now. When they talk about 007, the female version, be there online or something, because man, you got a lot to offer to this world, and I'm so grateful that you came on the pod. Thank you so much, guys. We've come to the end of the show, and by the way, do you have a website that you want us to know about?
Yes. Okay. My baby probably gonna tell me I said it wrong, because he always say Mama is Noir, but it's Chloelle. So my name CHLOELLE, and then I have people probably listen to me out of the room gonna probably correct me, like, you still said it wrong, but it's Noir NOIR.com.
Oh, okay. So Chloelle Noir.
Yep.
.com. I'm gonna put it on the screen when we are doing our editing, so people will have it. And I'm gonna verify that I got it right from you first before I put it on, okay? So that it'll be the correct one. But guys, yeah, we're gonna put her website on, and also you can find her on Facebook. We're gonna put it on as well. But yeah, we've come to the end of the show. My name is Great AKUDO. This is the AKUDO Experience, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much, Chloelle, for coming, okay?
Thank you.
Lean on you.